Please note, the following podcast is presented for information and entertainment purposes only. We do not provide investment or legal advice. Welcome to Getting Real with Real Estate. From the Diamond Listing team of Guardian Realty Center, your trusted advisor for real estate in Westchester and Putnam counties. Hello, everyone. My name is Frank, and I represent the Diamond Listing team of the Guardian Realty Center in Westchester and Putnam counties. Now, during this podcast for Getting Real with Real Estate, we'll provide you with some important information for using real estate as an investment. We'll discuss several tips for new landlords or landladies and which mistakes to avoid so that you can preserve your real estate investment and avoid some major headaches that can lead to some major losses of money. In a previous podcast, part 1 of our two-part series, we discussed what steps to take and mistakes to avoid when dealing with tenants. Now, in this podcast, part 2 of our two-part series, we'll explore the steps you must take to maintain your property to ensure that it remains attractive to prospective tenants and provides you with a profitable return on your investment. So let's begin. In a previous podcast, we said that the first and foremost rule is that you should always treat your property as a business. Now, what that means is that you should devote the time, effort, and resources required to ensure that your business provides you with reliable and profitable income. Now, there are 5 important points to consider in how to maintain your property before and after it is rented. Step 1. Assuming you don't already have tenants, you should prepare your property to make it more attractive to prospective renters. Now, this is going to take a little extra time and effort, but well worth it in the long run. This is especially important if you need to compete with other well-maintained and appealing properties in the area of your property. So start by conducting a thorough inspection of your property. Start from the outside and work your way in. The inside of your property may look absolutely amazing, but if the outside looks worn or cluttered or even damaged, the odds are that those prospective tenants will look elsewhere and never get to look at the inside of your amazing property. Assess the condition of the exterior. Does it need a new coat of paint? Perhaps a repair of a roof or gutters? Or perhaps it just needs some additional maintenance, like mowing the lawn, removing trash, cleaning the windows and doors, or perhaps some additional landscaping. All these can make a huge difference in what renters will see as their first impression. And first impressions count. The point is, make sure the condition and appearance of the outside of your rental property is inviting, and it's not the reason why prospective renters look the other way. Then your inspection of your rental unit should focus on the inside. Start with the kitchen. Check your appliances. Are they in good working condition? Are there leaks from the faucets, or worse yet, to the appliances? And can they be fixed? Are countertops and cabinets damaged? Do they need to be replaced or repaired? Now check the bathroom. Again, are there any leaks? Are there rust or lime stains visible that can be removed? Are the tub, sink, or vanity worn? Is the toilet working properly? Now do a walk through the remainder of your rental unit. Do the walls, doors, fixtures, and ceilings need a new coat of paint? Has the carpeting been cleaned, or does it show stains and discoloration? Is there damage on the hardwood or tile floors that can be repaired? Check for potential safety hazards like missing guardrails outside windows or unsafe venting on dryers or gas ovens, loose electrical switches and socket covers, or the presence of mold. Examine the hardware in your rental property, like doorknobs, hinges, drawer and cabinet pulls, light bulbs and switches, and pull chains. At the very least, make sure that your rental property is clean. Nothing will turn off a prospective tenant more than layers of dust or cobwebs or bugs in corners or just musty or undesirable odors, especially if they're from leftover furniture or rugs or curtains from previous tenants. The point in all this is pay attention to the condition of your rental unit before you invite potential renters. Create for yourself a checklist of repairs and replacements that need to be done before you bring in potential tenants. Make necessary but sensible improvements. Don't invest in renovations that won't command a higher rent and provide you with a higher return on your investment. But to attract higher-paying tenants, consider add-ons like extra storage space or lighting, built-in closets, stainless steel appliances, air conditioning, heating, and dishwashers. In the end, ask yourself this one question: would you and your family find your rental property appealing to live in? Step 2. Now that you have rented your property, you need to handle any repairs and renovations to it while it's occupied. Now, as we've mentioned previously, you need to treat your rental property like a business. Now, what that may mean is that you may need to be on call 24/7 if there is ever an emergency, and it's probably a good idea to have a separate phone number available for such a purpose. However, most situations that do develop are minor and don't necessarily require an urgent response. In these cases, you could respond to the issue by email and probably handle it at a more mutually convenient time. But the important thing is you need to address tenant concerns and potential problems with your property swiftly and effectively. Failure to do so, and you'll quickly turn those good rent-on-time tenants into adversaries. They may be legally entitled to withhold rent from you until the problem that they have complained about is resolved, especially if it impacts safety or health. Or they may feel forced to handle the problem on their own, and then eventually deduct the cost from the rent. Worse yet, they may be legally entitled to sue you for any injuries caused by those unresolved defective conditions that they've been complaining to you about. Plus, they can move out without giving you notice regardless of the language that's in your rental agreement. The point is, don't ignore or delay a concern raised by your tenants, but make sure you distinguish between normal wear and tear and intentional damage by tenants. Some renters simply don't care about how they live and will generally treat and respect the property they don't own less carefully. Treating a broken window caused by a tenant is a lot different than one caused by a defective or worn part. Stick to the rental agreement, especially language regarding property condition. If the damage is due to renter negligence, you can deduct the cost of the repair from their security deposit. And if the security deposit is fully used up, you can legally charge them a repair fee or sue them for the extra cost. But assuming the damage is due to normal wear and tear or a defective part, and you are handy, first try to do the repair yourself. But here's one warning to consider. Never ask tenants to do the repairs for you and then reimburse them. Technically, this would constitute a labor agreement, and you might find yourself unknowingly violating labor laws. Instead, if you can't handle the repair or renovation yourself, hire a reliable contractor or handyman, especially if they are available during off hours or when you're not around. Nothing else can ease a tenant's mind more than having that plumber available to fix a boiler not working in the middle of a cold winter evening. Make sure you give enough notice to your tenants on when you plan to schedule repairs or renovations. Notify them of any temporary loss of power, water, or heat during the time when the repairs are taking place. Step 3. Handle any ongoing and preemptive maintenance to your property to keep it in good working condition. It's a good idea to take a more proactive approach and not wait for tenants to alert you of their concerns. Schedule a quarterly or semi-annual inspection of the premises. Compare the condition of the property with that when you first rented it. You may need to repair or replace such items as faulty lighting, doors or window locks, or handle roof or plumbing leaks, warped window screens, or cracks to steps or walkways. Create for yourself a checklist of items that need to be addressed, and then handle them. For example, you may need to periodically maintain the exterior of your property, including visits by a landscaper, exterminator, or a snow removal service. Keep track of those repairs, renovations, and services that you complete, not only for tax purposes as business deductions, but also to spot any trends. If you find yourself repeatedly repairing a leaking roof, you may need to consider replacing it altogether. But again, be sensible with the cost of repairs and maintenance. Prioritize what's important. Balance the need to address any safety or health concerns with your property with the need to spruce up your property to create a more appealing environment. Now, there may be times when your property is subject to inspections by the local municipality, who checks to make sure that you're following relevant health and safety codes, or by your lender or insurance company, who checks to make sure that the property is well maintained for updated appraisal purposes. Failure to properly maintain your property can lead to a hike in your insurance premiums or a devaluation of your property by the lender. Which leads us to step 4. Make sure that your property's investment is well protected. Lenders will require that you have a homeowner's insurance policy, which will typically cost you more if you're renting a property that is not your primary residence. Consider a good umbrella policy to protect yourself and your family from any liability issues with your tenants and visitors to your property. The umbrella coverage should also extend to handle damages to your property, whether by tenants, visitors, or by acts of God. Also, consider how your property is secured. Although you can invest in a full-blown 24/7 security system, you can also consider less costly steps to prevent your property and tenants from becoming victims of crime. Improved exterior lighting, deadbolt door locks, and well-designed landscaping can be worthwhile measures to protect your real estate investment. Finally, step 5. Make sure that you have budgeted sufficient funds to handle issues with your rental property. Again, treat it like a business. Make sure that you have enough time and money set aside to deal with routine maintenance and unforeseen damage. Depending on the rate of vacancy of your rental property, you might have to set aside up to about a quarter of the rent you collect to handle the cost of maintaining that property. Keep in mind that over time, your rental property will either begin to show a profitable return or not. Consider using a trusted and experienced realtor from the Diamond Listing team of the Guardian Realty Center to help you determine when the return on your property, based on your operating costs, will begin to diminish, so that you will know when it's the right time to sell. So let's review the 5 tips that landlords should follow on how to maintain your property before and after it is rented. Step 1. Prepare your property to make it more attractive to potential tenants, but don't invest in renovations that won't command a higher rent. Step 2. Handle any tenant concerns with repairs and renovations to your property swiftly and effectively while it is occupied to avoid legal issues down the road. Step 3. Handle any ongoing and preemptive maintenance to your property to keep it in good working condition. Step 4. Protect your real estate investment with a good umbrella insurance policy. And finally, Step 5. Set aside the appropriate funds and time needed to address the previous 4 steps. Although there are many more issues that landlords can face when dealing with their investment property, we feel that these 5 steps are the core to ensuring that your real estate investment remains a sound, profitable business venture. In future segments of Getting Real with Real Estate, we'll discuss the topic of short sales and foreclosures. What's the difference between the two, and what are the pros and cons of each? Plus, in a separate segment, we'll provide you with some real estate market trends and statistics pertaining to properties in Westchester and Putnam counties. Thank you for listening to our podcast today. We hope we have provided you with some useful tips and information. On behalf of Joann Perna, licensed real estate broker, from the Diamond Listing Team of Guardian Realty Center, your trusted real estate advisor in Westchester and Putnam counties, please join us next time so that you can get real with real estate.